Okay, so let's move on to a new topic. We'll start on this topic called encapsulation. And this really isn't, I say a new topic, but it's really not. And it'll make sense in a moment. Let me change my brush size here so you can actually see it. Okay, we'll say encapsulation. Okay, so what is this? Basically, this is so we're thinking of terms of classes and objects and instances of classes now, and one of the uh, kind of ideas behind object-oriented programming is that an object knows how to do everything itself. So previously we would create a struct and we would create functions and then we would modify that struct in a bunch of different ways. But typically with object-oriented programming, so in the previous video we talked about an object state. The object knows how to modify its own state. So we wouldn't we wouldn't do something like this within our main. That we wouldn't do that. So that's bad. We could do that, but the goal is to encapsulate everything that the class needs to do. It can do itself through a function. So what we'd actually want to do is we write c dot shift up, and then so that shifts the gear. And what happens is that say you've got a bunch of code that uses c.shift up and you wanted to actually modify that code. Well, because it's encapsulated, the actual function, the stuff on the inside can change as long as you don't change the actual, this right here, the either what it returns. So this one's just a void, so that's fine, or the parameters that we pass. So if we would just want to change the inside, that's fine. We've encapsulated it. So again, the idea is, and as with all these other topics, I would suggest either reading the book or Googling it and having it having explained it a bunch of different ways, because this object-oriented stuff can get kind of complicated if you're not used to it. But I don't think that it's anything too crazy. But once you learn it, it'll just kind of be second nature. So that's a very big kind of tenet of object-oriented programming, is the idea of encapsulation. So let's kind of go over our previous video a little bit. We talked about state and behavior. So we have a new state because we've called shift up through our behavior. And so one of the things to notice here is that you don't want to change state other than the object's kind of inherent behavior, what's built in. So they've built in, say somebody hands us a class, a car class, and we call shift up. We don't really want to change C directly any other way. Just like with your own car, you're not going to, as you're driving, you're not going to try to open the hood and try to put a wrench in there and manually shift gears. They give you a gear shifter. So that would be encapsulation. If they need to change that somehow, something happens, maybe there's a recall and they need to change out some parts inside, that's encapsulation. You still have that the shifter. You're not really changing how you use the car, they're changing the insides. So you can sort of think about it. Here's another way to think about it. You have there's what exists within the function. So this is a bunch of code right here. And then how you actually access that on the outside. So, and then say we've got some brick wall here, and you're only allowed to access it through this one little channel right here. This is pretty much protected. So and what happens is, because you can only access it through this one channel, they can go ahead and say they want to add some new features or some new functionality, some extra checks some safety things within here. That really hasn't changed that yellow arrow. It's encapsulated. We can do whatever we want here. We can take all this and then we can rewrite it in a way where it's only 5 lines of code because we came up with a new way. That's what's known as encapsulating, and it's probably something you've already done and are already used to, but now we're kind of giving these things some formal names. So don't get too confused by it. If you don't understand it at first, just move on. I want you to just be exposed initially to these things. Once we get into more into some of the actual programming, it'll actually make more sense. So I wouldn't watch this video more than 1 or 2 times. Don't replay it over a bunch of times trying to understand everything, every little bit about it. If you don't understand it, you really want to learn more, I would say have it explained another way. So either Google object-oriented encapsulation or check out Wikipedia pages or the book or whatever. But don't kill yourself over this topic, because there's a lot of different topics in object-oriented programming, and a lot of them you probably won't understand the first time around.